Hi guys, in this video I'm going to be installing and setting up Octopi on a Raspberry Pi. For this video I'm going to do everything you need to do to get started. Also I'll be connecting the Octopi to the Ultimaker 2 3D printer. So as you may be aware, the Ultimaker 2 printer doesn't actually support USB printing, but there is a way to get around that, so don't worry. Okay, there's going to be a few things you're going to need for this video, apart from the software, which I'll show you where to get that from shortly. You're going to need some hardware. So first of all, you need to select a SD card. Now for my project, I have got this SanDisk Ultra, 16 gigabytes. Okay, that should be plenty. Now ideally you could use 8 gigabytes, but if you want to use some of the photo features with the camera, then the larger the better. But for the purpose of this video I have gone for a new 16 gig. You're also going to need a Raspberry Pi. I've got this one here. This is the Raspberry Pi 3 Model B, and that's what it looks like in the box. Okay, the reason I chose the version 3 is because it does have wireless built into this card. If you use the Raspberry Pi 1 or 2, then you will need to install a wireless dongle or receiver using one of the USB ports up in this device. So it's just easier to go with one built in, and they're very cheap. They're a bit dearer than the other ones. This one was about £33 from Amazon. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. So the first thing you're going to need to do is get some software off the internet. So we're going to be opening up the browser, and the first thing you need to get is the Octopi software itself. So it's called Octopi, and it's for Octoprint. So you can go to octoprint.org and then you can download it from here. So for the purpose of this video, I'll be downloading Octopi 0.15.1. All we're going to do is click on that and then send it to a destination. So I'm going to send it to my desktop for this video. Once that's installing, leave this page open because we're going to have to refer back to this shortly. On a new tab, we're going to download a program called Etcher. Again, this is free, and this is the best one to use. So there's an option for Windows or Mac, depending on what you're using. In my case, I'm using a Windows PC. So I'll be downloading this for Windows. I've got a 64-bit machine. There's some other options here if you're running 32-bit. Okay, so we're going to download that, and again we're going to save that to the desktop. Okay, the last thing we're going to need to get is something called Angry IP Scanner. This is the website, and again this is free software, and we're going to be downloading the current version, which is 3.5.3 at the time of recording, and I'm going to get the 32/64-bit installer. We're going to set that to download also. Okay, once we've done that, we're going to go back to the desktop where all our installations have taken place. Now I've already done this beforehand, so we can carry on. So with the Octopi software that you downloaded, it will come zipped. All we're going to do is right click that and extract the files. I've already done this, and there is my file up there. We then need to open Etcher. Now all this does is it takes an image and then it basically blows it up and puts it as an operating system on the removable media. So for this you're going to need to select image, and then what we're going to do is direct it to the desktop and then direct it to the image file that we unzipped earlier on. So in my case it's here, Octopi, and there is the disk image file. Once you've done that, it's going to open in there. What you'll then need to do is, bear with me a moment, we need to insert the SD card into your machine. Mine comes with an adapter, so I'll place the SD card into the adapter and then into the machine. There we go, it's found it as removable disk G. Take note. So what we're going to do is change that, make sure that is set on G, which mine is, and then continue. We're then going to flash, and then it's going to start the process of putting that image onto the SD card. Okay, once it's done that, it's going to validate the file. Once the file has been validated, it will then pop up with this window saying we need to format the disk in drive H before you can use it. So notice it's changed the letter. I think that is normal, and then it's asking us to format it. We need to push cancel. Okay, one piece of software I did forget to mention. We're going to go to the Microsoft Store if you're using Windows, and we need to download Notepad++. To do is go back to the Octopi download screen, and then notice here it says configure your Wi-Fi connection by editing octa-wpa-supplicant.txt on the root of the flash card. So what we need to do is the SD card still in the machine, you need to open the files that are inside. Obviously Windows doesn't recognize these files. Okay, so we're going to right click on Octopi-wpa-supplicant, and then we're going to open it with Notepad++. We're then going to go down to line 26 here, 27, and we're going to remove the hash from there, there, and there, and then in the SSID you're going to put your network name. So I'm going to do that now. And then the password in between these closed brackets here. Now I'm going to cut away for this because obviously it's my password. Okay, once we've done that, we're just going to simply go to File and Save. Close that down, and then we're ready to insert the SD card into the Raspberry Pi. Okay, so this is the Pi 3, and then when we turn it over, the SD card slot is on the back, and we're just going to pop that in with all that information on the card, like so. Okay, once we've installed the SD card as shown, we're going to introduce some power. So you'll see that there's a micro USB socket connection up there, and we're just going to connect that up to the power. Once it's done, you should see some flashing lights as shown. What we're going to do is we're going to give this a few minutes just to boot up. I'd say give it about 5 minutes or so, and then we'll come back to the next step. Okay, once we've done that, we've left it a few minutes, we're going to go ahead and then open Angry IP Scanner. So we're just going to double click, and I'll move this so you can see it. And then all we're going to do, don't have to touch any settings, we're just going to push start. That is going to find all of the available things on the network, including the IP address. Now what we're interested in is one that says Octopi. Once that is stopped, as you can see, here we go, I've got my Octopi here. All we need to do is make a note of the IP address. And then that is that part done. What we're then going to do is open a new browser, and we're going to type in that web address, that IP address. That took a little bit of time, but there you go. That has now come up with my Raspberry Pi with Octopi, and then you're then going to set up all your options. So it says, hello, thank you for installing Octoprint. This wizard will then guide you through the steps to get your Octoprint instance all set up and ready to go. Okay, so access control. What should we do next? Sorry. Right, we need to have a username and password set up on here. So I'm going to do that now. And then we want to keep access control enabled. And then it says access control enabled, and then we can go next. Right, so this is the configure the connectivity check. So basically we need to set all these things. That is set at 15 minutes, that can stay as standard. All this can stay, but we can test. And it says the server is reachable. Enable connectivity check, and then it says check is enabled, and then we can go next. And then this is just about the plugins. So for this we're going to enable plugin blacklist processing, and then that's enabled, and then we can go next. This, you can import a Cura profile if you want to print directly from Octoprint. For me, I'm not going to do this. I'll be using Cura to send my prints via Octopi, so I don't need to do this. Next. Next we're going to call it a name. So for me, I'm going to do Horlicks 3D printer. And then the model Ultimaker 2. Again, we can set all this if we want to, if you want to print through this, but I'm not going to do that at the moment. So we can just continue and go next. And then we can just do finish. And then we're done for this part. All we're going to do now is we're going to go back to the printer. I'm going to take this off my table. We're going to plug the webcam. I've got a webcam I'm going to be using. Plug that into one of the USBs, and then we're also going to plug the printer itself via USB into the other socket. Then we'll come back to this, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so make sure you've got the latest version of Cura, and then we're going to open up Cura. The first thing we need to do is go to Toolbox and then Browse Packages. In here you need to look for the Octoprint connection. Click on that, and then I've already installed it, but you need to push this button to install the Octoprint. Once we've done that, we need to go to Settings, Printer, Ultimaker 2, well, Manage Printers. Select Ultimaker 2 as your printer, and you'll notice when you've done the plugin, you will then get Connect Octoprint option up here. First of all though, we need to go to the machine settings. This is very important. You need to change the G-code flavor from Ultimaker 2 to RepRap. Once you've done that, we need to edit some of this code. There's not much to do. Oh, let's jump back. So what we need to do is find this line of code here, G1F200 E10, and we're going to change that to 25. And all that will do is it'll extrude 25mm of filament before the print starts. Go up to this line here, G28Z0, and we need to copy this line of code, move Z to the bottom end stops. We're going to copy that, and we're going to go over to the end G code, and we're just going to place that in just above where it says M84 steppers off. So I'm going to paste that into there, and there we have it. Move Z to bottom end stops just before M84 steppers off. And that is it. That's all we need to do in this window. So we're going to close, and then we're going to connect to Octoprint. It's going to find it, and then it wants the API key. So let's switch screens so we can find that. So we're going to go over to the internet browser where we opened Octoprint. We're going to go to where you're logged in up here, click down and go to user settings. Your API key will then be here. So we need to copy this and paste it into Cura. If you don't see a code, just hit the refresh button there. We'll go back to Cura and we'll paste that code. And then it's got automatically start a print job after uploading. Show webcam image, store G-code on the printer SD card. So we're just going to leave that as it is, and we're going to connect. And it's waiting for a print job. Close. That is now done. So now what we can do is we can open a print. So I'm just going to find one now. And I'm just going to choose a nice quick one, which is this trolley token. It will then slice it. It will come up 18 minutes, obviously, when all your settings are to your liking. We're just going to hit print with Octoprint. It will then bring up your camera feed. And as you can see, everything is warming up, ready for the print. That is it. That is Octopi up and running at a basic level. If you want to add any more tweaks or things later on, then you can do. There's plenty of videos out there. This was just a very basic on getting started with Octoprint. Thank you for watching and enjoy your Octoprint.